Smokers, ladies and gentlemen, the Apple 2018 launch event just ended. It was a pretty interesting event. 3 new iPhones were launched. We're going to look at all 3 of those models, the price points. One of them came in at near $1,500 on the high end, guys. Unbelievable. A price point that's never been touched on an iPhone or any phone for that matter. So a huge price points on some of these. They do have one model that I think is going to sell unbelievably well. We're going to talk about the specs of those. Also, they launched a new Apple Watch Series 4. We're going to look at that. I think that's a real interesting product. So let's just get into this, guys. I'm going to first start out with the iPhone XR, okay? We're just going to look at the price points of all these new products they launch and when they're going to be available. Then we'll go into the specs. This product I start out with first because this is their more affordable iPhone model that I think is actually going to be the top selling iPhone in their lineup, okay? I think this is going to be the one that sells like crazy. Comes in at $749. You can get it in 64 gigs, 128 or 256. And when we'll look at the specs a little later, when I look at the specs of this phone, I see a phone that's going to sell really, really well at that price point, okay? That one's not available as far as pre-order goes till October 19th. It will be available for everybody to buy on October 26th, so about a month later than the highest end iPhone. So as far as the highest end iPhones they came out with the iPhone XS, okay? This one starts at $1,000, so the same price point that the original iPhone X started at, but it's got better specs across the board. We'll look at that. This one you can get in 64 gigs, 256, or 512 gigabytes of storage. Why you need that much storage in an iPhone is beyond me unless you take an incredible amount of video specifically, because even photos, you could take a ridiculous amount and still not clog up your storage. You would have to take a ridiculous amount of videos. Then they also launched an iPhone XS Max, which is a massive phone, a massive phone as far as the screen size. This is a one that starts at $1,099 starts, okay? This one's available as 64 gigs, 256, and 512. Those phones are available for pre-order on September 14th and are available for people to buy September 21st. So those ones you can get about a month before you can get the iPhone XR. So as far as the iPhone lineup is now, you have the iPhone 7 coming in at $449 starting, iPhone 8 starting at $599. They have the iPhone XR, which is I think is going to be the top selling iPhone, starting at $749. They have the iPhone XS, which starts at $999, and then they have the iPhone XS Max starting at $1,099. And as far as the specs on those last 2 phones, they're pretty much identical, except for the screen is ridiculously massive on the iPhone XS Max there. Now they launched this new Apple Watch, okay? This is the thing we'll kind of look at the specs at first. It's called Series 4 Apple Watch. This new Apple Watch has a much larger edge-to-edge screen, giving the biggest facelift since the launch in 2014. The screen is 30% larger than the previous version, while the device itself has become thinner, which I think is important. The bigger focus was really on the health side of what this watch can do, okay? The new watch comes with a new sensor that lets you take an ECG, guys, an ECG that measures the heart's rhythm and notifies you if there are defects in the AFib, okay? That is pretty amazing stuff, all right? It is now able to detect falls and automatically initiate an emergency call as well. Now, if you're a younger person out there and you're hearing that, right? It's like, okay, give me a break. Like, what is that important? Well, for people that are really 65 and over, that's actually a very, very valuable thing, okay? For people that might fall, you know, if you have grandparents out there or you ever worked in a retirement community, you know when people get older, they fall, they have heart attacks. If they can't get to a phone in time, they die, okay? That's the bottom line. If they can't get the medical help in time, they end up dying, okay? And maybe much earlier than they should have, just because something ended up happening, okay? So that's a really, really interesting thing there, all right? The new Watch Series 4 starts at $399 and is available for order starting on Friday. They're also dropping the Watch Series 3 price tag to $279. So the Watch Series 4, the interesting thing about that is it's not just aimed at people that love, you know, I guess you could say tech and want to have the latest tech and the latest Apple products. It's really going to be aimed at some of the elderly communities and whatnot, as far as, you know, the baby boom boomers that are aging. We know it's a huge population there that's aging, and you know, want to keep track of their health and keep track of things like that, and you know, have the emergency services alerted if you fall or something, you know, if you go into a medical emergency and there's nobody around. Really cool stuff there, guys. So let's get on to these iPhones now, all right? So let's first start off with the highest end iPhones they launched, which is iPhone XS, okay? If you look, these iPhones have a bigger screen size than the iPhone 8 Plus, okay? And the amazing thing about the iPhone XS Max is literally that it's a smaller phone, but with a much, much larger screen size because the bezels are so big on the older iPhones, all right? If we look at the iPhone XS, it still has a bigger screen size than even an iPhone 8 Plus, right? Just because simply the bezels are so big, but you can fit in your pocket much easier, all right? These phones have an unbelievable new A12 chip, which will likely have the best benchmarks of any phone period out there in the world. Like when this comes out, it's going to be insane. They're talking about up to 50% faster graphics performance, up to 15% faster performance cores, up to 50% lower power usage in efficiency modes, which is very interesting. 8-core neural engine, enhanced image signal processor, advanced performance controller. Like I said, the specs on that, wait till the benchmarks come out. It should blow every other phone ever in history away by a long shot of every phone. As far as the cameras go, that's always very important. Both those models of the phone have a dual 12 megapixel camera. You can look at all the specs there. They can also do 4K video at up to 60 frames per second. All right. And as far as a front-facing camera, we know people love to take selfies. That's a very high-end camera there on the front side. And you can even still do video at 1080p, 60 frames per second, which amazes me. I never pictured a front-facing camera being able to do 1080p, 60 frames per second, but the time has come, guys. So that covers the highest end iPhones there. Now let's get to the one that I think is going to be the really high selling one, okay? The iPhone XR, which has a 6.1 inch display. That's a massive, massive display. It's the largest LCD ever on an iPhone. So the other ones have an OLED display. This one has an LCD, has industry leading color accuracy, white color gamut, true tone. This phone is also a massive phone in terms of screen size. Look at how much bigger it is in terms of what you get for screen size versus an iPhone 8 Plus. It's a massive, massive difference there, all right? This one, they claim to have the most durable front glass ever in a smartphone, okay? Precision machined aerospace grade aluminum bands, water and dust resistant, and they have 6 different finishes for the phone. So it'll be interesting to see how strong that glass really is. I can't wait to see the tests come out on YouTube and see some people doing different tests on this phone a month from now or 2 months from now, because maybe it's a phone you could literally have without a case. We have yet to have any smartphone really that, you know, is a popular one at least, where you can feel comfortable having it without a case, okay? Right now I have an iPhone 7. I would not feel comfortable having that without a case, okay? Maybe this could be the first smartphone that you could have without a case and feel comfortable if you dropped it, it's not gonna break in half, okay? The iPhone XR, it has the A12 chip in it. That's the amazing thing, okay? So they put the highest end chip they have into this phone. So, which is another reason I think this one is going to sell off the charts right now, because this one's coming in at $749 and you have the fastest chip in this phone. That's huge, guys, and a 6.1 inch display. This is going to be the one that sells in a major way, in my opinion, the top selling iPhone. It has a 12 megapixel rear camera, so it doesn't have the dual camera setup like the highest end iPhone does, all right? But this one also has a phenomenal front facing camera with portrait mode, with depth control, and once again, 1080p at 60 frames per second. That just amazes me as someone that's started out as a videographer and whatnot. And as far as the iPhone XS, I just want to show you guys this. If you want the highest end model, so the highest end model, the biggest model that has the most storage, it will come in at a $1,449 price point there, guys. Oh my goodness. And you know, I still remember it was like yesterday, people were like, oh, no one's going to buy a $1,000 smartphone. Now the highest end smartphones are all starting at $1,000. We see Samsung has slowly started to creep up to that $1,000 number and is right around there. And there's going to be a day when a high-end iPhone or high-end Samsung, you're going to be paying $2,000+ for. If you want the highest of the highest end, no different than if you want the highest end MacBook Pro or something like that, you're looking at $2,000+. There's going to come a day when we're going to be looking at something like that. But in terms of what I see over the this next year, the iPhone XR is going to be the one that, in my opinion, just sells like unbelievable, guys. You got the highest end chip in that for $749, all glass display, 6.1 inch. Like in my opinion, that one's going to be the one that really sells off the charts. But I want to know your guys' opinion on any of these products down there in that comment section. Do you plan on buying any of these new iPhones or the new Apple Watch? Do you plan on getting them for anybody? I would love to hear from you guys down there in that comment section as always. This is Regular Guy Tech. I am Jeremy. Thank you for watching and have a great day.